All right, well, welcome back, everybody, to the Raider roster report. This is Raider Sparks coming at you with another video today, and thanks all that watched the last video for all the comments. Please like, share, subscribe to the video. Definitely helps out, but more importantly, make comments. I love hearing to see hear what Raider Nation has to say about the state of the Raider and all that. And the last episode, I purposely kind of kept vague. I just wanted to see. I went over some topics like the roster, the salary cap. Guys I like in the upcoming draft, things like that. And the comments basically centered around the quarterback, which is no surprise. It's the biggest position that we have to fill. And my comments about Hendon Hooker, I think as the number one target for the Raiders, mainly because I think it's the best option to win if he's healthy. Obviously, I said Will Levis if Hooker isn't. And a lot of it was their experience. And a lot of you guys push back about his age, and totally understand that. His age is 25, get that. But also it means it's probably more, he probably is most ready to win if he's healthy. And anyways, that's kind of where I was going with that. But also, I think the comments by Dave Ziegler were pretty telling. He basically said that we may not have an immediate answer at quarterback this year in his last interview. And it's funny, a lot of stuff came out about Hendon Hooker a couple days after I did the video saying that he's my number one choice for the quarterback as far as them being able to make the Super Bowl with a young quarterback. I think he gives them the best option. But then it comes out that extensive meetings happen with them. But then his Ziegler's comments weren't necessarily about Hooker, but it could be because a lot of people kind of took offense, like they didn't have a plan. But it could be just playing coy or just kind of playing games with the media, but also it could be truthful. I mean, if you were going to select a quarterback that has a ACL and is recovering from it, then you truly don't know if you have an immediate answer or not, if that's the guy that you're targeting. So, I mean, he could have just been saying the truth in the whole thing and basically just say, hey, we don't know. You know, maybe it's the answer right away, maybe partway through the season, maybe not till next year. But, you know, we do have our guy. And that could be what he meant by that. He actually could have been telling the truth about his thoughts on the quarterback situation. So, but I think also I kind of kept the last episode sort of brief and just touched on topics, but maybe I'll talk a little bit about why I think Hendon Hooker is the reason. And it kind of goes back to Josh McDaniels' comments about Carr, and he said it after one of the games about ball placement. For, you know, the passes that he was throwing. That was always sort of my biggest issue with Derek Carr. It was a type of pass he threw. I mean, a lot of times he'd get completions, but they should have went for touchdowns, not just completions. Like he'd throw, instead of throwing the deep ball down the field so this guy runs under it for a touchdown, he'd make it a contested catch, or he wouldn't throw it in the proper place to get yak, or he wouldn't put the zip on it so the guys could get it right away, or he'd touch it so they'd have to kind of carry him to the sideline and go out of bounds. And those types of throws, I think, is kind of what McDaniels was talking about. Hendon Hooker is very good at those kinds of throws. He puts it on guys when he needs to. He gets it down the field so they can run under it. His receivers tend to get yak yards. So all of those things, and they're kind of puts it on the correct shoulder. But he'll use touch when he has to. He has a good accuracy and that type of thing. But also is the style of play that Josh Heupel uses at Tennessee and at Baylor when he was there. It's a lot of choice routes, and I think that the Raiders offense also uses a lot of choice routes. And I think Derek Carr struggled with that. I mean, even Devontae Adams said that it's a very complicated offense, and what he meant by that was the receivers are as involved in determining the play as the quarterback. I mean, yes, there's concepts that are called and directions, things like that, but it goes off the leverage on the DB. So the receivers have choices of what route to run during the play, and so the quarterback needs to figure that out in live time, right? You can't. It's not as scripted like a West Coast style offense. It's all based on the formation, and you kind of know what to do off of the formation. Is basically as the play develops and anticipating that route. So you have to be on the same page as your receivers, and that's why I said, yeah, if you are going after Hendon Hooker, go after one of his teammate receivers, either in the first round with Jalen Hyatt or the second round, get Hooker first round and then Cedric Tillman the second round, so they have that familiarity going into it. But anyways, that's kind of the problem that Carr struggled with. I don't think he fully understand the concept of those choice routes, and so I think he struggled with it. And ultimately, I think those two things, the ball placement, the type of pass he was throwing, and the inability to really read the choice route, I think, is kind of what got him there. So anyways, that's kind of what I was thinking with that. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Somebody's coming in. Anyways, so that's the reason I was going with Hendon Hooker, and I think that could be a good reason. Also, one of the things, like Anthony Richardson, you know, I was kind of looking over the tape because I was interested in Justin Shorter, and it was hard to evaluate Justin Shorter because, you know, his numbers weren't that great. And I was wondering why. At 6'3", 225, and supposedly very athletic, he's not dominating. It's because the passes were so bad from Richardson. So, I mean, if you're going to go Anthony Richardson, I'll just say, you know, sign Cam Newton, let him mentor the guy, because it's kind of a similar play style. Cam Newton at least knows the offense. I don't know if Cam Newton's even interested in playing anymore, but just as an option, if you're going to sign him, it's a long-term project. It's not a win-now situation. So that's kind of what I got with Hendon Hooker, and kind of why I felt that he should go. But anyway, so next time I'll go more into the draft, and please comment, share, subscribe. I really want to ahead of my next video, want to hear what you guys' thoughts are on some of your favorite options, maybe at number 1 or different rounds of the draft, who your players are, that type of thing. And I'll probably do a breakdown too of Devin Witherspoon and Tyree Wilson. I think those are the guys that are my 2 number 1 options in the first round if we're not having to go quarterback. So yeah, so that's kind of what I got with that. And also, as far as I talked a lot about the salary cap and how we had about 17 players that we kind of need to fill spots for, and about 35 million available. And that is true. Those are true numbers, but there's also a restructuring that can be done. And so I don't want to do a bunch of restructuring if we're not going all in. If we get Aaron Rodgers, I say restructure as much as we can. The big numbers, you can get up to about 56 million. If you do Max, Chandler, you know, Colton Miller, Devontae Adams, Hunter, Waller, James, and Carlson. If you do those guys alone, just the restructures is $56 million. But you wouldn't want to do those if you're not going all in. I say save that money and then cut them if you have to. And not Max. You can do Max, it's fine, and Devontae. But the rest of the guys, you have the flexibility in their contracts now to get out of them next year if you have to, or even some of them this year if you have to. And go that way and spend big next year on free agency and get guys in their prime for long-term contracts if this is more of a rebuild with a young quarterback. If it's Aaron Rodgers, he's coming in and free as much money as we can and go for it, right? It's all or nothing. So anyways, but that's kind of where we're at with the salary cap. You know, there's some moves that can be made. It just really depends on the quarterback, what we do. You know, if we go on with Aaron Rodgers or if we're going young. And I think it'll really depend, because we're in a good spot next year. We don't have a bunch of dead money or anything like that. So why force a bunch of dead money from this year's group just to be mediocre, right? If we're going to force this dead money to next year or push money out into the future, then it's all or nothing, right? And go for it. But I mean, if they wanted to do max and free up 12 million, if there's a guy out there they like, or give that 12 million to Josh Jacobs, that's cool. Like, I would totally do that. And there's some money there for Devontae, about 4 million, not a lot, but a little bit. Maybe you get you Zach Cunningham, who's just cut from the Titans. He's a bigger type of linebacker, like that 235 linebacker I was thinking about getting, or that I'd like the Raiders to target. And so he's out there, he's a pretty good player, you know, he's a veteran. Maybe he comes in for around 4 million, who knows? But yeah, you could free that money up and grab somebody like that. So anyways, there's some options there. I guess real quick, a lot of people comment, or I heard from other people, they want to know my kind of list of guys that I like, and I'll go through it real quick. Devin Witherspoon, Tyree Wilson, if we went defense in the first round. Jalen Hyatt, you know, would be a good pick in the first, if we're going to go with the receiver with speed. Felix Anabuke out of Kansas State is the edge I like in the second round. DeJuan Jones, obviously the right tackle out of Ohio State. I like him a lot too, just because of what the Patriots did with big right tackles. I think it'd be great. Cedric Tillman's another guy too, second round, big receiver. I think he'd be fantastic, especially if we're going with the Hendon Hooker or Keyshawn Boutte out of LSU. Just a kind of a boomer bust player right there. I like Irvin Dexter as a defensive tackle. I think he's got some of the most upside in the draft as far as D tackles. There's a boomer bust players that I would give a shot at in the third, fourth, fifth round even. And Noah Sewell, who knows where he's going to go. Dumas out of Maryland, the receiver, big receiver, had dealt with a lot of injuries, kind of first round talent, but we'll see how that goes. And Justin Shorter, kind of want to see what his combine looks like, a big receiver. I want to pair a big receiver up with Devontae Adams. So then safeties, Jair Brown at Penn State's one of my favorite safeties in the draft. Trey Dean is good too. Sidney Brown, I think, has moved him stock up maybe too high for us. Let's see here. Jason Taylor is a big dime linebacker. I think would be great. Patrick McMorris as well out of San Diego State. Those guys are kind of UDFA type guys, but just guys I kind of have my eye on for the combine. Let's see. Broderick Martin, nose tackle, kind of a baby Jordan Davis, if you will, out of Western Kentucky. Good player. And then I noticed the guards that I picked, they've been creeping up mock draft boards. Javon Gwynn out of South Carolina, John Gaines out of UCLA. They're gaining steam a little bit. Braden Daniels has already been up there a little bit out of Utah. And then Chandler Zavala, he's kind of hit or miss. I think everybody's waiting on his combine for sure. But those are some of the interior offensive linemen I like. And then if we did go tackle later in the round, McClendon Curtis, I really like him a lot too. And if we went with a Sam linebacker, Yasir Abdullah out of LSU, Louisville, really good player. He'd be a good Sam linebacker, late round pick. He's got some pass rush ability, not great in the run, but he's got good coverage skills. He hustles, good special teamer. So somebody I'd like to. And then some bigger linebackers like UDFA that I wouldn't mind. Isaiah Moore out of North Carolina State, Dax Holyfield out of Virginia Tech, Abraham Beauport out of Marshall, and Jacquez Jones out of Kentucky. There's some guys I kind of have my eye on. It's just sort of guys to bring in to help improve this linebacking group, because the linebacking group is not good right now. We need serious help. If we wanted to draft somebody higher in the draft as a linebacker, Deion Henley is very good. I mean, he's more of a will to me, but still would be all right. And then Dorian Williams out of Tulane is another guy who could be an option for us as well. And Jack Campbell, I know a lot of people like Jack Campbell. I'm still not there yet with Dorian or Jack Campbell. I got to watch more tape. So let me know what you guys think about those guys too. And my favorite receiver in the draft is not being mentioned at all out of UIW, Taylor Grimes, just a total slot machine, right? He can just do. He's gonna be a fun player in the NFL. I think the Raiders probably have their eye on him because he's the Wes Welker, Amendola, Renfro. He is the clone of those guys, and I think he would be a great fit for us. I already mentioned Justin Shorter's a big receiver. Like A.T. Perry's another guy, and Shaq Davis out of South Carolina. I'm definitely interested in their combines. For a third down back, I like a guy out of Fresno State, Jordan Mims, kind of being slept on. Even some of the draft boards, he's not even on yet, but he does great. In the game, he runs fantastic. He's a little slight. He's like 205, so he needs to gain some weight, but in the route tree he runs all kinds of routes. And he also, probably most importantly for a rookie, he blocks. Like he'll get out and block. He's a willing blocker in the passing game. So I really like him to come in and compete for a third down spot. So let me know if you guys have anything on him. And then if we wanted to get a gadget guy or a punt return, kick return specialist, Kashmir Allen, kind of back in the day with Al Davis, he's supposed to run like a 4.29 out of UCLA. He's listed at like 180, but he doesn't look like that small on tape. So he's somebody I'm interested in. And then Habuka Baldonado, if we wanted to get another edge, I think would be perfect. Stand-up edge rusher, can play the outside linebacker role. So there's probably a lot of guys, maybe too many, but we have 11 draft picks. So there's a lot of guys you got to like, all throughout the rounds. So I just gave you a whole list of guys that I have my eye on, especially for the combine. But definitely want to know what your guys' thoughts are on everything, Raider Nation, on the quarterback situation, on Ziegler's comments. I think people took him the wrong way. He was either just kind of having some fun with the media, or he was telling the truth. And if you're going to bring in a quarterback that has an ACL tear, you don't know when he's going to be back. It's a pretty true statement. Is we may not have an immediate need. We might have an immediate need. We might have it figured out, but we might not, just because of his injury. So, anyways, that's kind of all I got for you guys. Please add comments. I really want to know what's on your guys' mind out there. And until next time, I think the next episode I'll do is sort of why I pick Devin Witherspoon and Tyree Wilson as my 1A, 1B options in the first round if we're not going quarterback, and kind of break that down a little bit more, and then kind of get into the draft a little bit. And then as guys get released in free agency, I kind of talk about them. I do like the idea of Zach Cunningham, kind of a lesser expensive option, a veteran presence in the middle, especially if we're not going to bring back Perryman. And there's going to be plenty more guys, just a guy's name that caught my eye. There's a lot of guys that got released, but he's kind of the only one that really kind of stood out to me as a possible fit for the Raiders. Anyways, that's all I got today. Great being with you guys. Please like, share, subscribe to the video, and more importantly, add your comments. I really like reading everything that people have to say. All right, till next time, we'll talk to you later.